Good morning. You're watching Much Ado About Something today, and I'm Donna. Welcome to my garden. I'm glad that you're here. Well, this morning, it's I'm out here before the kids get here. I'm out here kind of in the morning, and it's not as humid as it usually is in the middle of the day and near the end of the day. So I'm out here getting done what I can get done. Thank you for joining me in my garden today. And you know, if you're new here, you're welcome. And if you're coming back from my videos, welcome back. Well, I've had this ongoing problem with my passion flower there in the middle garden, and I've been out there pulling and cutting more of that weed back. It's not a weed, that wonderful plant that I love with the passion fruits. I've been able to harvest about 1 gallon of fruits from that, well, more than that, a 5-gallon bucket here. That I'll be able to add to my jellies and to some of the things that I'm preserving this year. My plan today is to get out here and continue to cut back on that passion flower vine to get it off of some of my plants that I have, and to get out here and just assess what needs to be done here in the fall. I was able to go there and get the plants from Home Depot, and I was excited about that. So I have a few new additions, but I won't be planting those today. I still have a few more steps in the garden, a few more work that needs to be done before I'm able to plant those. But that's what I've been doing so far. That's what I've been doing this morning, and I wanted to bring you into the garden with me and just share with you what I've been doing. And you know, this time of the year, what we can get done. Really hot, really humid. Things are still drying up. I'm cutting some things back. It's the end of the season for them. And that's what we're doing in the garden today. Well, I'm in the car. I ran down here to Home Depot, and I wanted to see if they still had those orange Echinacea. I had been thinking about them most of the day, and how pretty they would look in there in that middle bed with all the other Echinacea. So I'm going to run in here and see if they still have them. Well, you can see there's not very many left. There's a pink one there, and then there's one other orange one. I got these 3, but they don't look anything like those big, beautiful ones that were here before. But these will do just fine. At least there was some left. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up 3 of them and add them to the garden. The black-eyed Susans are still here, and they're still really pretty. And here I did cut back the Queen Anne's lace. I've got one little bloom still trying to hang on, but I cut it down to the ground, and I'm saving the seeds of that. So I got that much done this morning, and there's still a lot of passion fruit I've got to cut out of here. It's growing here in my camellia, and I don't like it to take over my other plants. And you can see right here, this passion flower was food for the beetles. If it was going to eat anything, I'm glad it ate what I had a whole lot of right there. Me and Donald did put leaf mulch on this camellia. These leaves stay on year-round, so sometimes they start looking a little rough. And it's good to get out here and trim it. But I still do have quite a bit of passion flower that I'm going to have to get out here and remove. Sorry, I have to be careful. I've got this microphone on, and I've got this cord here, and I'm out here clipping and snipping, and I don't want to clip my little microphone cord in two. Yeah, but I'm still tackling the beast of getting this passion flower clipped out of everything where it doesn't need to be. And every year I say I'm going to do a better job. getting this stuff clipped and taken out. But you know, the thing about it is that this time of the year gets busy. There's a lot going on. The grandkids are out of school and staying with me, and then I've got a canning that I've got to get done because, you know, I love to put up that good summer produce. So I'll have it when the winter months come, and I can enjoy all that good produce that we had plenty of during the summer. So there's just been so much going on that it's just hard for me to stay on top of it. Even though I just have a small garden area, you know, we have 1/4 of an acre here, and it's not a lot of land and it's not a lot of gardens really, but it seems to be enough to keep me busy. This poor little echinacea here, this beautiful red echinacea that has bloomed prolifically all since spring, since this has came up, this echinacea has just bloomed, and it has been beautiful. And I have so enjoyed it, but I think it's about time to cut it back. It's starting to dry up, and it's not any new blooms on it, and I'm letting it go to seed, and I'm hopefully to get some seed off of it. But it's finally seen its later days in the garden. That thing was not disappointing. That was a beautiful, beautiful addition to the garden. And I got it at a nursery that was not far from the house. And I just bought 2 of them, and I should have bought more with how beautiful those are. And what an addition they have been to this garden. So I'll probably cut those back today, and then I won't have their beauty shining out here in the front of the garden like they did. They were right here out in the front of the garden. And I really have enjoyed them. I've enjoyed their beautiful red color. It looked good with the house, and it just was beautiful, beautiful addition. But as you saw maybe at the beginning of this video, I was able to go and get a few more of those orange echinacea. I got those unloaded, and they're here in the shade garden waiting for me to plant them. Now, they were not real big and beautiful like the first ones that I saw. I should have just went ahead and picked out the first ones when I was drawn to them, but I was trying to stick on task and stick on budget and not buy anything that I didn't go to the store to get. That's an exercise I've been trying to implement since, you know, trying to stay on a budget since things have gotten like they've got and prices have gone up so much. I have tried to implement just sticking to my budget and not trying to go over. So when I saw these big, beautiful echinacea at Home Depot when I was trying to redo my accent plant here in the front yard, I didn't splurge on these because they were not in the plan. They were not in budget. And now I got kind of puny ones. They're not as big and beautiful as the ones that were on sale, and I got the last 4 that they had. These are the last 4 orange echinacea that they had, and I think they had 1 pink one left. I have plenty of pink echinacea in my garden, and I do love it. Now, this I use for medicinal purposes. I use those in my apothecary, and I love these purple cone flowers, these echinacea. So I try to grow as many as I can of those right here in this small left-hand side of the garden. I have this white echinacea that I also bought last year from the nursery when I bought these red ones. And I think they're soon becoming my favorite flower because of the ease that they have in growing. I mean, it's just so easy for me to grow them here since we've cut back the tree here. There used to be a big maple tree here, huge. And we had it cut down. We had the one here in the front cut down and the one in the back. You may have heard me mention that before in my videos. And the reason I keep mentioning it is because at one point all of this was shaded This garden had plenty of shade because it was that big maple tree. But when we cut that big maple tree down, that took the shade, and now this has become a full sun garden and not a shaded, partially shaded garden. So I am having to adjust to that. I'm having to adjust and not plant shade-loving plants, but find sun-loving plants. And the Echinacea is a sun-loving plant. It does well in full sun, and it's just flourishing right there where that tree used to be, in that garden up under that tree. So I am going to work these 4 orange Echinaceas that I have out here in this middle garden where they'll get full sun and where they'll be happy, and I'll have beauty. And hopefully, I'm hoping that these Echinaceas will bloom all the way up into fall. And then that way, I'll have this beautiful orange color in the fall. And that's the same reason I picked up these beautiful Black-Eyed Susan flowers, is because I also wanted them to be able to be blooming here in the fall. There's no little stake pressed down in these. I guess all of the information is right here outside on this tag. And so that's what I'll be trying to do, is pay attention here to this Black-Eyed Susan's label and the information it has for me. Of course, I knew it's a perennial. It takes full sun. These were only $6.98, and they're called Black-Eyed Susans. And there's the Latin technological name for them, the Rudbeckia, which you know I love Rudbeckia. Those are one of my favorite flowers also for full sun. Then it gives you all the information here that what we need to do with this here flower when we plant it. How far we need to space it, how tall it's going to get. These get about 3 feet tall. You water it when it's dry, it's heat tolerant, and it blooms early summer to fall. And that is exactly what we're looking for our garden. At this time of the year, that's exactly what kind of addition we want to make. We want a flower that's going to bloom for us well into the fall. We're going to get the most bang for our buck that way. So when I went to Home Depot to check on these Echinacea here, and I bought 4 of them. This one here looks really, really hardy. Even though it doesn't have a lot of blooms on it, this plant looks very hardy. This one looks a little puny. It's a small stalk, but it's it'll have the opportunity to grow, hopefully, and produce more when I get it planted. And these beauties, you know, they're not as big and lush and beautiful as the ones that were there when I first saw them, but I'm pleased. I'm pleased that I got these 4, because if I had waited any longer, these would have been gone and I wouldn't have had these. There just wasn't a lot of this kind of plant at Home Depot yet. And I didn't even stop by Lowe's to see what they have. We have a Home Depot and a Lowe's that's very close together near where I live, and I like to compare the two when I have the time to do that, the time and the energy and the opportunity. I like to compare, but I didn't get to do that this time. I didn't go to the Lowe's to see what they had. But I am anxious to get these out into my garden today and if I get enough of this cut back and I get enough of this work done out here. It's like right here, this where that passion flower just pulled down these Rudbeckia blooms. I hope to keep these into fall, so I'm going to have to top dress these and put some soil up under, and maybe even a stone, a rock, maybe to help hold up these flowers. I did the same thing to this one here. When I cut off all the passion flower from it, I was able to put some top dressing on it and encourage that upright habit of this flower. Everything is so dry. Now I have a lot of stuff that the rabbit has just ate. He's just ate some of my flowers away out here. There was some things that he particularly loved, that little bunny, and he just munched and munched. So there's some of my flowers missing that I had out here. It still looks like a good full bed. But there's a lot of perennials that I had planted from last year that are not out here now because that little rabbit was munching on them. So I just have to chalk that up to giving some to nature, right? Just like the beetles eating some of the stuff. I mean, I didn't spray a lot. I didn't prevent the wildlife from being out here. So I'll just have to accept what they've left me. And then just put my new plants in. I still have to plant this beautiful Coleus. I did water that this morning, but this has got to be in the ground if I'm expecting to see anything from it this year. I've got to go ahead and get this planted. I grew these from seed, and I enjoy this plant so much. I did get a few planted in the garden. They're suffering a little bit because, you know, it's so dry. But they're still beautiful, and I am enjoying those. The tiger lilies, you know, they have ended their blooming season. They were really beautiful. I've got one perfect echinacea hiding back here. Yeah, I'm going to have to get out here, and I forgot to tell you when I got those orange echinacea, I got these rosemary. These rosemary, they were $19, but they had them on clearance. They had them on clearance for $9.99, which is a great deal for this size rosemary. I thought I would take one and put it in the house. Now you can see this rosemary is labeled a shrub. It's an herb, and you don't really think of it as a shrub. And they sell some rosemaries that are really small. And you might think, oh, I have plenty of room to grow this rosemary, you know, but this thing is listed as a shrub. And we have to treat it as such. I'm going to take one in the house. I'm going to try to get one to grow kind of like a Christmas tree so that I can have it. The smell of these rosemaries are awesome. And the other one I'm going to put into the perennial herb garden that I have because it's so beautiful and it was at such a good price. The one that I put out here in this perennial herb garden is doing a lot better. If you can remember when I first transplanted it out here, it was looking really skimpy, and I didn't know if this rosemary would even make it. It was looking so rough. But it is making it. It's faring well. It looks good. It's in partial shade. It does get some full sun, but right now it's right here in partial shade. It's planted beside the comfrey. There's plenty of comfrey plant out here, and it's planted right here beside of it in this perennial herb garden. Now I had some space in this perennial herb garden, and so there's a few basils out here. I had some extra basils and marigolds, so they're planted out here in this perennial herb garden. But eventually, all the way across this straight bed here, it will only be perennial herbs. But I think this one is going to fare, and the one that I bought that was on clearance, I'm just going to work in here, maybe on this end, and maybe it'll help hide the compost, little compost bin we got right here. Maybe it will got some needles off this Leland cypress covering up our air holes here. We need some airflow so that this will decompose in the right way. I need to spray some water on it too. Got that cleaned off. But I think I'm going to put that extra rosemary that I bought right here on this end of the perennial herb garden, where I've got some zinnia seeds coming up. There's some mint. I contained it in that container so it wouldn't take over this herb garden. And you know, while you're out here, you just have to enjoy the beauty that you have at each season. Whatever's blooming in your garden, whatever is growing, during each season, you have to just appreciate the beauty. When I get this passion flower cut out of this middle garden and I get those new echinaceas planted there, I'll be moving to the what I call the left-hand side of the front garden. I'll be moving over here because there's a lot of things that need to be done here in this garden while I've been inside canning and working on the middle garden. This garden has decided to just fill in. It's filling in with a hummingbird vine, and it's filling in. And it'll be time for me to cut back the echinacea that I'm going to harvest from this, to go ahead and cut back the tiger lilies that have finished blooming. Just do a little bit of weeding. I have just let this thing go and let it do its own thing and be a wild child. And you see those poor old impatiens. They're just drying up more and more and more. I did pull the tomato plant out to go out and back so it can go in the vegetable garden. It's got blooms all over it. It's probably a cherry tomato. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking maybe that's what it is. I did get some mint cut back and more of the passion flower. But the left-hand garden, after I get this center garden completed, the left-hand garden will be my next project. And the right-hand garden, when you come down the steps right here, this is the right-hand garden where we put our new accent plant, and it's still looking good. It's still hanging in there. I'm pleased with it, but it's not near as bad. It may look like it to you, but it's not near as bad as the other two gardens as far as just going haywire and crazy. Now there's a lot of stuff that does need to be watered. I haven't been out here watering like I normally do because it's been so humid. So I won't be watering as much. You know, the water bill went up $30 from me watering. And I'm just not going to blow the budget with watering these plants. Madeline's cow toy is out here. I'll have to put that in the wash machine. She loves her animals. She left Cow out here, so we'll have to give him a bath. But yeah, I have cut back on the watering because of the time of the year, and I'm just not going to, you know, blow the budget trying to keep everything watered, even though we've had plenty of rain. We had light showers yesterday that just added to the humidity, but it wasn't a soaking rain like we have been having, so there's a lot of things that are kind of thirsty out here. Well, I am going to go ahead and get at it, cutting back some more of these weeds and seeing what needs water and what needs to be cut back some, and some top dressing. I'll be out here this morning working on that until my grandchildren get here. They may want to stay out a little bit and they may not. I never know. If they want to stay out, it'll give me a little longer time to work out here. But if they're ready to go in, then of course we'll go in. I don't want the heat to be too much on Madeline and the other little ones, so we're not staying out here for a long amount of time like we usually do because of the hot heat and the humidity. but we'll stay out here as long as we can if they'll tolerate it, and maybe I'll get a little bit more work done out here. But I'm going to wind it up. Thank you for joining me in my garden today. Let me share these things with you. If you see a plant that you like at Home Depot or Lowe's or anywhere else, and there's just a few of them there, go ahead and get them if you really love them, because when you go back, there might not be any left. And the ones left may be kind of puny. But just help yourself and go ahead and get what you need for your garden if you can, if it's within your budget. I'm trying to stay in a budget, but I am glad I went back and got those 4. And this time of the year, you know, I mean, there's not a lot that you can do. I'm going to add a few things, you know, those Echinacea and those black-eyed Susans to my garden, because I do have room for them now that I've cut back this vine. I will add a few things to the garden, but there's not a lot to be done other than the cutting back and the clearing out and getting ready for the next season. But I'll share with you whatever I can when I can. Thank you for joining me in this garden today, and I hope you have a good day. And like always, until next time.